Okay, we have this close meeting of the board minutes of order. The emergency is to the leader, the right to the left.
Roger Clement.
Here.
Dave Cooley. William Hall.
Here.
Jeffrey Bianchi.
Here.
Steve Rosa. Here. Carol Helder. Here. Mary Clary.
Here.
Scott Holston. Here. Timothy Wells.
Here. And I believe Kate and Susie are going to use for special meetings.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the November 14th, 2023 meeting. Moved by Mr. Wells, seconded by...
Second.
Any discussion? None being heard, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Ms. Mills, you're on.
We'd like to invite you to our choir concert on December 9th or 19th at 7 p.m. in the New Orleans Pavilion. The senior high will start administering the ASVAB exam to interested juniors and seniors. The ASVAB exam is a premier assessment that measures developed abilities and interests. The ASVAB is slated to be given during Women's Week. The math component has started a peer tutoring program. Students are matched with other students to help work on math skills and success. Interested students are encouraged to reach out to their math teachers. The Science Olympiad team competed in their second invitational this season at Fayetteville Maryland High School. Sorry, I mispronounced that. On Saturday, December 2nd. We took third. We took 3 first place medals, 1 second place, and 4 third place medals. Saugerties continues to prove to be one of the top schools in New York. That's all. Thank you.
For presentations on everything, let's say Dr. Hersey will speak.
So before Kate takes over to present us a couple of recognitions I want to give out. Music department, congratulations to our 3 voice choir students who received perfect scores at NISMA and have chosen to perform in the mixed chorus at NISMA Conference in Rochester, New York on November 30th through December 3rd. There's Elizabeth Lee, soprano 2, Sarah Biangino, soprano 1, Caitlin Brennan, alto 1. That's a big accomplishment. So congratulations to those 3 individuals. Area All-State, congratulations to the following voice choir students for making Area All-State, performing at the Wallkill High School Festival on November 16th and November 17th. Mixed choir, we had Sarah McJones, Alexis Schulte, James McKay, Samantha Pisano, Katie Nowitzki. Treble choir, we had Caitlin Brennan, Grace Hoff, Emily Figueroa, Elizabeth Lee, and an alternate, Sydney Sedaris. I want to shout out to our music department for the various members of choir and band to be back to the community on a rainy day in the village, singing carols and playing festival tunes at our holiday in the village celebration. So thank you for bringing cheer to our families there. Also, just want to recognize our Mahal Academic Award winners. We had 102 students overall. That's a GPA of greater or equal to 90% during the sports season. Cheer team had 8 athletes, cross country had 15, golf had 8, boys soccer had 6, girls tennis had 19, volleyball had 12, girls soccer had 14, and football team had 20 athletes. So congratulations to those athletes as well.
with that, I'll turn it over to Caitlin.
Good evening, everybody. We good? Almost 1 second. Okay, that's okay, because I'm going to turn it over to students first anyway. So that's it. You're going to hear from our students first. We have Drama Club, Student Council, and Students for Change here to present a little bit to you today. So we are going to start with Student Council. Can I grab some of you?
Good evening. I'm the advisor for Student Council here at Cahill, and we are honored to have been asked to speak here tonight. With me are the council's elected officials who will be sharing some of our accomplishments, goals, and wishes for the future. First, I will introduce to you our president, Andrew Bernard.
Good evening. I am Andrew Bernard, Cahill Student Council President, and I am honored to welcome you here to our school. The Student Council has been organizing Spirit Days dad jokes for the morning announcements, and we recently organized and ran the Veterans Day Assembly. We had over 20 veterans in attendance that were invited by our fellow classmates. We have many other things planned for this year, but I'm going to let some of the other officials tell you about them. Thank you, and I would now like to introduce you to our Vice President, Jameson Hill. Hello, my name is Jameson Hilby, and I am the Student Council Vice President. Our next planned activity is to bring some cheer to our very local senior residents by going on our second annual holiday caroling plan. We plan to visit Ivy Lodge and the Saugerties Senior Living Facility with holiday cards for the residents. Thank you, and now I introduce you to Devin Ferris.
Hello, my name is Devin Ferris, and I am the Student Council Secretary. Our first activity for the holidays will be to organize a Valentine's Day card drive to help bring local seniors and hospital-bound patients a feeling of being loved and followed. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our community rep, Sylvia Graham.
Good evening, my name is Sylvia and I am the Student Council. One of the events that sixth graders are looking forward to most this year are school socials. This year we are hoping to have 2 socials, the one around Valentine's Day and the other one at the end of the school year. The students appreciate being able to have these milestone childhood memories here at Cahill. Thank you. Next up is our Treasure Cahill Award.
Hello, my name is Sarah Ford. I'm the Student Council Treasurer and honored to be elected to this position. However, when I found out the council is not legally allowed to raise any money, I was highly disappointed. There are so many other ways that we would like to help make a difference in our community. If you have any ideas, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to speak so you can see all we do and hope to do for our Cahill Elementary School community.
Next, we have Mrs. McManigal and Students for Change.
Good evening. So we're up to about 50 students now, which we're really happy about. So Students for Change has been busy again, and we appreciate the opportunity to give an update for what we've been working hard doing in the community. I'm going to start with Lynn O'Malley. Who's going to share first?
Hello, my name is Lynn O'Malley. This fall, we have held a drive to the Saugerties Animal Shelter and have donated bedding, food, and necessities to the help of our families here at Cahill. We are hoping to hold another spring donation drive and hopefully incorporate an adoption event to the Saugerties Animal Shelter one weekend this spring. Thank you. Next up is Brandon Lane.
not there enough to sustain the needs of the families in our building. Students have been working on locating alternate sources for our families outside of our KO community, and will be sharing that information with our building. Thank you. Next up is Eastern Cobalt.
Good evening. My name is Easton Koval, and I am one of the founding members of Students for Change. We have brainstormed ways to continue to move forward and have reviewed New York State Department of Ed guidelines regarding this effort, and we have learned a lot in the process. But for now, future orders are being directed to the schools starting at high school. We are grateful for the opportunity that we've had to meet our families' needs. Thank you for listening. Now over to Andrew Bernard to wrap for speech.
My name is Andrew Bernard, and on another note, as this group is student-driven, some students in the upper grades have been working on their Chromebook, researching and creating slide presentations on climate issues. We will be reaching out to our local government to see how legislation plays a part in our community as the year continues.
Take a moment to thank our students for change. We had several that came too, so they could see how a board meeting works and to support their fellow members. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Jamie Temple. I'm a fifth grade teacher here at Cahill. I am one of the advisors for this year's drama club, along with Renee O'Donnell, our school librarian. I brought along two of our drama members this year to speak to you about our after-school club, and they're going to talk to you about all that we've accomplished in a short 2 months and plan to do for the 2023-2024 school year. So I present to you Adelina France and Bailey Simmons.
Hi, I'm Adeline France, and I'm here to represent our 2023 to 2024 drama club. We have around 30 students who participate, and all of them are 5th and 6th graders. Drama allows us to express ourselves on the stage and learn important skills such as teamwork, showmanship, and conquering the fear of public speaking. We have been very busy since our first meeting in October. In these 2 short months, we have practiced script reading, performed our first mini skit on stage for November's character trait assembly to demonstrate what thankfulness looks like, and we have picked our school play, which will be in full production this spring. Our play is called Character Matters, and it's all about ways to cooperate and empathize with others. This is a life skill for all students, all adults, and as the play illustrates, fairy tale characters. I am Bailey Simmons, and I am also a drama club member. All 5th and 6th grader students were invited to participate in this after-school club. We meet every Wednesday until 4:10 p.m. Students bring different talents and skills to our club. Some want to be center stage, and auditions will be this week. Some want to be part of the stage crew, see how the behind-the-scenes work. Some want to display their creative talents through prop making, scenery, and costumes. This club allows for all types of students to express themselves through dramatic play. We look forward to presenting mini skits each month here at Cahill during the character trait assemblies, and we invite all to attend our big production in the spring. This is a great club to be in to prepare us for junior high and high school drama experience. Thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you, everybody. That was great. Okay, hit it, Rafa. One of the things I want to try to here is how much our students do and how much they lead. And I think just hearing some of the things that they were just talking about, I hope we got that same message. It's important to me. Okay, so We can go to the next slide. We're jumping right in and we're getting the data, okay? So this is 22-23 iReady diagnostics from last year. So we're going to take a look at math and we're going to take a look at ELA. I'm not going to get into absolute specifics. I'm just going to highlight a couple of key points. In a nutshell, you want red to go from high to low. So if we're looking at the red data for just say math, for instance, we have total red would be the 30%, and then, what is it, 42? I can't see it from my glasses. 42% we actually changed. Now, if you also look at the green, there was a significant change in the green, and that was for both ELA and for math, if you go to the next slide also. At the bottom, it kind of gives you an idea of the domains that's connecting to the standards of just kind of where we are, and it breaks it down a little bit further. Now, there's more reports that we can look at internally to kind of see, you know, to kind of hone in and pinpoint. But really, it's important to me that we not, so we have grand round meetings you're going to hear about in a little bit, and you've heard about before from the other principals or even from last year. And we use this as only one of our data points to discuss when we talk about a little child. But what's important to us is that a lot of times when we talk about student need, we talk about maybe our at-risk population, which is important, but our students that are already performing on grade level or mid-grade level, we also want to make sure that we're reaching them as well, and we're pulling up that other side of that pendulum as well. So, and I think this data kind of captures that we are addressing needs at all levels here, not just on the at-risk side. So I'm excited to report that, and I hope this trend actually, you know, obviously continues. Same type of thing for ELA, and then we're moving on to extended ed. So last year's program, I give you the highlights. I'm just reporting to you the average pre and post test scores, so you can just see how much they changed just from the start of the program. I will say that not every program ran the exact same amount of time. And then where you see MA, that just means that we didn't have a session for that specific grade level at that time. But you can see, you know, each grade level had significant growth, both math again and ELA. And, you know, teachers will sometimes it's a teaching assistant that will run a session, and they'll say, I'm going to run it, you know, just for the sake of argument, you know, the end of September through November, then they take a break, and then maybe we pick up again with the kids, you know, a little bit later in the year, and it might be one session is math, one session is ELA. On the next slide, you'll see SEL. So Mrs. Tammy Carlisle, I have to give her credit on this one. It was an amazing idea and very successful. First, let me point out a mistake I made. So that actually says average math pre-test, average math post-test. I'm definitely not quizzing kids on math and SEL. So that's a mistake on my end. That should just say average pre-test and average post-test. But back to Mrs. Carlisle and the credit for her. So we have a large amount of students that, without getting into specifics, had reasons to be dropped off early at K-Hill. It could have been due to living arrangements, it could have been due to transportation, it could have been other as needed. We're trying to work with everybody and help. She came to me one day and she said, you know, that group is getting pretty large, and I happened to notice that some of the students would really benefit from a little SEL touch base, little maybe working on interpersonal skills. And she said, do you think that I could run an extended day in the morning? And I said, it's a great idea. You know, let's meet the kids when we can, where we are, and obviously through support from the district level, we were able to run that session, and that was incredibly successful, as you can see. And that was mixed grade levels, and then depending on the grade, kind of worked with, you know, the students as needed, and then Ms. Brooke Denon, our psychologist, we had her as a substitute in case Mrs. Carlisle was not able to meet that day for some reason, but that was an incredibly successful, and I'm grateful for that support. For this year extended day, we currently have 9 sessions running. I'm hoping to see that number go up. And one of the things I'd like to highlight here is thanks to our instructional coaches and Dr. G. That team sets us up with, at the elementary level, our priority standards. So you might have heard this when we talk about Summer Academy, but our priority standards go back to some of that data that I just showed you on those first couple of slides, and they show those standards are the ones that we need to focus the most on. Those New York State standards that we really need to make sure that we are spending time on and showing some growth in. So we use those priority standards for each grade level to guide these programs. So it helped me when we did summer academy, and then that was kind of like our meeting point when we do extended day. So we're still working on building a program for this year. I'd like to see more sessions, so hopefully there's more to add for next year's data. We have a nice range of grade levels that we're focusing on this year. Where are we? BLT. Okay. So last year, I think when I presented to you, I don't even think we had our first BLT meeting just yet, so that was supposed to be coming. So I'm going to report to you what we did last year, how we fared according to our goals, and then I'll talk a little bit about this year. So last year, we had a nice mix of stakeholders at the table. We had parents, we had some student council members attend, we had faculty members, we had staff members, all different stakeholders attended this meeting. We decided to set our goals. As a district, our hopes that we're all reading on grade level by the time we get to third grade. So we took that idea and then we ran with it. So our first goal ended up being to increase the number of students in kindergarten through second reading on grade level. We picked 20%. We figured it was a reachable number. I think after we see our results, there might be need for some adjustment there. So kindergarten had a 50% increase of students reading on grade level and above. First grade had 63% increase of students on or above, and then second grade had a 39%. So we crushed our goal, I would say. And then some, which I'm incredibly proud of. And then at the bottom, right beneath that I shared with you, so even though it wasn't part of our goal for number 1%, we focused on kindergarten through second, I did share the K-6 instruction overall, what that growth looked like. And I did focus on the mid above. That went from 29 to 66, sorry. So that's a 37% increase, and then mid and above went from 13 to 44, so 31. So again, great results there. The second goal we focused on was increasing parent communication, connection, and collaboration. So there was a lot of things, I think, which was a great thing. There was many things that we were actually doing already, so it was kind of like, how do we take where we are and then improve that even more? And one of the things that kept coming up was getting back into that more family community events. So that means that we're working hand in hand with PTA. We're trying to develop more events like at the building. There was a lot of stuff that was coming up that Cahill did previously under different leadership. And we talked about bringing some of those things back. And I think our focus was to try to get one family community event each quarter. And by the time I think we arrived at that goal, I think we said we were going to hit 2 or 3 for the year. So we hosted, there was a family and community event each quarter. I just talked about that, and then trunk or treat, Harlem Wizards, and then there was other various PTA supported events, and we had the kindergarten pumpkin hunt. So we definitely did increase those number of events also. This year, just already today, some of you may have seen that, it was a great setup for the holiday shop. I hear the gifts are amazing. I hope you guys get some great ones. And then this year, as a district, I know Dr. Ersking's focus was on attendance. And I have to be honest with you here, I plugged in a number here. That is not a number that was agreed upon by the committee just yet, or a BLT team. I just wanted you to have an idea of what we're looking at, and I don't know if that number will be what it is, but our goal will be something along those lines. I have a meeting on the 21st to really hone in and get that goal set. But again, I just wanted you to see an idea of what that was. It would just have to be it would be something along those lines. Okay, so for student achievement, so some of these things, I'm going to be honest with you, you probably heard me talk a little bit about last year. And one of the things that I really liked about this year going in, well, A, I had a year under my belt, I felt a little bit better going in. But B, instead of new initiatives, new things to try, new things to handle, we didn't have some new stuff, but we really decided that we were going to kind of stick with our game plan and really dig a little bit deeper. So some of the stuff might sound repetitive to you, but that is my reasoning behind it. So they're still very dominant in our day-to-day and the way we conduct. So for student achievement, the district this year also focusing on the 3 E's. So we have engagement, equity, and empowerment. And basically across the board, not just for our students, but how are we doing those things for our adults as well? So faculty, staff, and name and it's one of the greatest things is when you actually see some of this stuff coming to light in use, and it's not something that you ask people to do. I happen to think that's one of the most amazing things. So we shared as a district this Venn diagram of 3 circles and everything, and I'm sorry I didn't put it in here, and it's all 3 of the terms I just named: engagement, equity, and empowerment. And I am now having meetings with various teachers, and those are the 3 terms that our conversations are centered around. And teachers are actually bringing information from our instructional coaches. I'm over here because I know they're sitting over here. They're bringing information from our instructional coaches to the table of those conversations that we're now having about instruction. They're saying, you know, I use these 3 E's to guide my lesson planning. That to me is amazing in so many ways. And again, that's kind of on their own. They're saying that these things are important. And I'm here just today. I love having this because it really helps me as I'm planning. It makes sure I'm aware of these things, but it's really making sure that I have them embedded in my lessons. So I just wanted to highlight, I think that's amazing. So back to our student achievement. We have our support team, which you heard of last year. I implemented that when I first got here. That is continued. We still meet once a week. You'll hear about that a little bit more in future slides. We have, and these are in no particular order. Looking back, I probably should have ordered them a little better. But grade level collaboration. So I want to highlight here our grade level collaboration. We have built into our master schedules that we have common planning time for each grade level. But thank you to Dr. G. When we now have various faculty meetings, there are teaching and learning meetings, and not only grade level collaboration within the building, so it's not like all of our 3rd grade teachers are getting together just, you know, here at Cahill. We do have meetings where our 3rd grade teachers across the district are getting together and they are collaborating. So I think that's not something I think that happens in a lot of districts. We have our instructional coaches, pacing guides, small group instruction. So these are things that are research-based practices that we're just really choosing to implement and really just make sure that we're really focusing on improving our instruction. And again, these all circle back to, I know they're working when the conversations are happening like authentically and on their own. And it's really amazing to be part of. SEL push-ins. So our fantastic support staff here. So again, this is Tammy Carlisle, this is Brooke Denon. Last year you heard me talk about our support staff pushing into 5th and 6th grade classrooms, working with various students. You'll see some data about that in a little bit. And this year, I think towards the end of last year, they started talking about the idea of pushing into 3rd and 4th grade as well. And of course, as many things, schedule permitting, other things taking place, other student needs, let's do this the best that we can, and let's make sure that we're, you know, reaching as many kids as possible. So the goal is to do this once a letter day cycle, and so far it's been pretty amazing. One of the ideas I like behind it is Mrs. Carlisle and Mrs. Denner are building in common language. So the kids are starting to hear certain things in 3rd grade SEL-wise, and then now that discussion will hopefully continue through 4th, 5th, and eventually to 6th. So if we started a little bit earlier, the idea is that maybe we won't need as much as we get over here into the upper grades. Reading teacher, Mrs. Olson, she's fantastic, working with students. Junior high school counselor still coming down once a letter day cycle. That program has been amazing, talking about jobs, careers, what do we want to do, where do we want to be. Our school advocacy specialist, this is an amazing position, and again, this is something that, you know, Mrs. Wright joined us last year. What we've been able to do and the connections we've been able to make because we no longer have that language barrier is just, it's unbelievable in the difference. Even just the sense of some of our families feeling like they have somebody that they can call, pick up the phone and speak to is just, in itself is just amazing. Master schedule. You know, there's a lot that goes into our master schedule, and one of the things that I really appreciate in our district is that we have a master schedule that I believe truly represents our values and where we want to focus as a district. So there was a lot of changes that we made last year, and then at Cahill, there was a lot of things that I kind of had to, there's a lot of moving parts, let's say that. There's a lot of things that we need to make sure we're doing so that all students are receiving all of their services. And honestly, like, sometimes I feel like a logistical wizard, I really do, because there's a lot of things that need to constantly be enabled to make sure that we're really able to reach the needs of our students that are mainstreaming and reach the needs of our students that are speaking different languages. But we continue to make sure that that master schedule truly reflects and supports that. Co-teaching PD. So we are actually focusing on 5th and 6th grade teachers this year. We have a special ed teacher in 5th grade and then a special ed teacher in 6th grade, and then just working as a co-taught team. I will say that one of the teachers told me straight out after one of the trainings that day, she said that is absolutely the best PD I've ever been to in my life. So that was really exciting to hear. Mainstreaming, I just touched on that a little bit. Individual learning plan meetings. So this is something, and I'm going to just touch a little bit of how I think, just real quick. So when I first became an administrator, even sometimes when I was teaching, I would think about this. I never understood why we never had meetings individually for our English language learners, right? So I think of a student that has specific needs. No matter the type of student, we always met with the families. This is the plan. We met with the teachers, the parents at the table. This is how we're going to support your child. This is what's available. So I always wanted to do these meetings, and quite honestly, last year I just wasn't able to. So this year it was a real focus of mine to make sure that we had these individual learning meetings for every single L student that we have in this building. We currently have 40 students, and I believe we have 36 of these meetings that we're able to attend. At the table was their classroom teachers, their support staff, E&L's teachers, parents, myself, and Megan Wright, our advocacy specialist. And what we were able to do is explain how programming works here, how we support students here, what things were available to them, what resources were available to the parents. So those meetings this year were a huge addition, I think, to supporting our English language learners, families, not just the students, the families as well. And then I have to give Ms. Vale a lot of credit here. She's intentionally focusing on smoothing the transition for 6th to 7th grade. So Mrs. Churchill is also supporting this by we have a lot of our special ed teachers going up to the 7th grade to kind of check out the programming that's up there, so that when we're talking about the annual reviews, are we recommending the best things for our students? And if we're recommending those things, then obviously we need to know what they are. So our teachers are actually spending time going up to the junior high, speaking with the staff, meeting with them, and there are future meetings to come. And Mrs. Vale is doing the same thing, and she's including, we have our 6th grade teachers going up there. Our E&L teachers are going up there. Mrs. Wright is going up there to make sure, everybody knows what it looks like up there. What does it feel like? What does it look like? And she'll speak more about this, but I really want to give her credit because she's really taking ownership of that and reining in all 3 buildings and making sure that all of our students are getting that experience. So I appreciate her for that. Making sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good. Okay, so district goals and some of the things that we're doing, I know that we're aligning to the district goals, and I'm going to be really honest. When I sit down to meet this, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I truly struggle. There is so much that occurs, and then now that I'm saying things out loud, I feel like I'm not even highlighting some of the things that we're really doing here. There really is so much that's difficult to put into these slides. So for culture, climate, support team, character trait assemblies, you just heard our drama club talk about this. So Mrs. Temple came to me and said the kids and I, we were thinking that we would do a little skit to act out the trait of the month. So that was cool. We just had our first one. Positive behavioral supports. We also are working with Ulster BOCES and our behavioral specialists that are coming in to support our, faculty and students. Bus award, lunch recess. I don't know if you mentioned on the way out, but we have a bulletin board of who last month's winter tour. Community assemblies, the Veterans Day assembly was just highlighted. Our faculty meetings, I talked about this a little bit, they're teaching and learning meetings. So one of the other things I used to think about as an administrator is how can we just have one faculty meeting and touch base once a month. The elementary level here now have 2, and it's amazing because they're actually learning experiences for everybody. Our staff share strategies that work. They're coming up with their own, intervention lists of things that they've worked, or they say, hey, let's do this, or maybe this would be helpful. It's a lot of really great work. And the other part for me is that we're lockstep with Riccardi and Moore. So all 3 elementary buildings are, we're not just off the cuff running 3 different faculty staff meetings, we're in it together, so we're planning together, so we're even collaborating and talking about it. And then we kind of plug in the little things that are pertaining to our school. Culture and climate, you have the WAG, some of you probably get it. That's week at a glance. So each week I communicate out the different events and things that are going on for the upcoming week, upcoming weeks. Morning meetings, we have things like, for instance, our RCPC 4th through 6th grades, they're working with kindergarten students. So they're going out for ELA and social studies. That's just one class I happen to highlight, but that happens often. We have kids reading to each other. We have contact log, BLT. Another new addition for this year is the occasional safety team. So some of you may have heard me say this, and this kind of leads into the safety slide. Stand by, I'll come back to that. Last thing on here is just some of our community connections. And after listening to the kids, I realized I forgot a couple. But we have Too Good for Drugs, a show camp, Ulster BOCES, with the behavioral specialists, specifically this year. IBM, we ran an amazing engineering day. It was very cool. Some of these pictures, and then you have some of the pictures of the kids, Students for Change presented at the Climate Summit. Then you have Mrs. Farrell's classes reading to the Ivy Lodge. And then in the center photo, you have Engineers Day. I think there's more photos on that to come. So safety and security, Mr. Keenan is amazing. Our kids love him, as do staff. There was one day he might not have, I don't think he was ever there, somebody that day, and I heard a staff member say, oh, thank goodness you're back. The other guy was great, but we really missed you, so that was great to hear. And we actually have students that will come down purposely just to say hello, check in, and he's just a great addition to the team, and we're happy to have him. Building safety team, you just heard me talk about. So one of my biggest worries here, I don't know if you notice the number of doors here at the ground level that lead to the outside. It's always a big concern. Among a couple other things that also occur for this building, it's a very large building. So created a building safety team. Truthfully, it was on the docket for last year, and it's just not something I was able to do. Building safety team has met, the idea is to kind of meet once a quarter, so we have our second meeting coming up. And one of the things I'm trying to focus on right now, I just put it out and I ask people to come with ideas. There's a lot of ground level exterior doors, so we're trying to come up with some type of drill notification, something you want to call, so that every door has an adult by it to make sure it's locked off and nobody can get, obviously, out. So it's just one thing we're focusing on. And then taking it to the next level, we're talking about tabletop drills for each building. That is to be determined here for Cato. And just kind of enhancing the overall procedures and protocols that we already have in place. We added an additional lunch period here, and so far so good. It's working out really nicely, having less students at one time. And we have a rotating schedule. We're doing handle with care training, de-escalation training, and just yesterday, I believe, right, today's the 12th, yes, just yesterday our cafeteria monitors received CPR training. So lots of additional trainings this year for safety, just for an extra one. And I think here, I'm turning it over to Mrs. Lynn.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Lamb. I'm the assistant principal at Cahill this year, so I'm just going to take over the second half of the presentation. So to start off with student support, Ms. Denon, Ms. Tammy, Ms. Carlo, and our nurse Marcy meet with Shannon and I weekly. We talk about attendance, so every week we talk about who's absent, why are they absent, did a letter go out, how many calls go home, and just trying to make sure that kids are in school so they're learning. We talk about other SEL support, so if, let's say, we are like ships in the night sometimes, so we don't always get time to spend with each other. This is a sacred time where we can say, you know what, I saw so-and-so 3 times this week, we need to talk about next steps. So just making sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Our SEL push-ins continue on a once per week cycles, or once per letter day cycle, so it's roughly 1 time every 6 school days. They also have some lunch bunch, so let's say a student doesn't have an IEP or 504, but they need a little extra support. Our school psychologist or social worker will meet with them during lunch just to reinforce social skills, just with play skills, just reinforce anything the teacher really needs them to know. We have our BOCES behavioral specialist, which Shannon talked about a few times. We We do our ground meetings quarterly, so 4 times each year we meet on every single student in the school year. I'm not gonna take too much time because you guys have heard this a lot. We do have a sensory room, a redirect space. It's got a fake spaceship in it, so it's just got a lot of fun stuff. It's got lights in there right now. It's a calming space. A lot of our students have behaviors, and it's not necessarily because they're just bad behaved children. It's because they are overstimulated and they need a space to calm down. So we're seeing really great, like for example, kindergarten students. So catch them being good, reward with 2 minutes in the spaceship, and then prevent that meltdown later. So just a lot of those supports. And then classroom teacher support for TAs through us. Just to dive a little deeper into social emotional learning, this data was provided by Ms. Tammy, who did our push-ins last year and continues this year with our school psychologist. So the point of this is to push in to teach students how to self-regulate and have healthy relationships, come together with some same language. So what you're hearing in 3rd grade is what you're hearing in 6th grade, what you heard in 3rd grade follows you through 6th grade. And kids are actually catching on, and now the teachers are in too. They're catching on too, like, oh my gosh, my teacher's making me use those I statements and those social conflict things that I didn't have to use unless I was in the counseling room. So it's following them through. Some data that Ms. Tammy shared there, the pre-test, post-test, so you have 5th and 6th grade. This is based on last year, but she presented it to us this year just to share because it is a huge success. And I just included some quotes there. I'm not going to read them all, but these are from students in that pre-test, post-test that Ms. Tammy received. So students learned how to be responsible, how to stack our emotions or low flows, so age-appropriate language. Learning about self-control and communication skills. This sounds like we should all come to school skilled with these, but unfortunately we don't, so we do have to reinforce that. And I just had to add that last quote that Ms. Tammy doesn't like cats because that was memorable to somebody. And if you catch them in the hall, they will say that. And I add that because we're in school, we're here to learn, but we should also have fun doing it. So the next slide is just some responsibilities and roles that I've been tasked with since I've been here since the beginning of the school year. I do know this is a new role, so I wanted to make it clear what I do. In addition to this list is everything else that I couldn't think of or fit on a slide. So this year I'm meeting twice with RCBC teachers and social worker and classroom staff. I'm meeting once with the youngers and once with the older kids too. So here, it's really important. A lot of things can happen in a day, especially in the week. So we're meeting every Monday morning and every Friday morning to talk about what happened, how can we help you, do you feel supported, what do you need? We are also meeting with the social worker and psychologist, attendance checks, nurse stuff. I'm going to rush through this so I don't take your time. I support Shannon during faculty meetings, superintendent's days, assemblies, things like that. Creating and supporting building protocols. So just making it very clear for all staff and parents and teachers and students that we do have protocols here and here's how we follow them. I have a daily presence in lunch and recess. This is a really great time to catch a lot of things before they happen. Silly things such as so-and-so pushed me to bigger things such as they called me a bad name and now we need to sit down. They also, like to see adults in a good, happy manner in lunch in an unstructured time, playing games with them, joking around with them. I don't want to do the gritty. It's a dance. They're like, do you know the gritty yet? Do you know the gritty? No, I'm never going to learn it. But you know what? Ask me tomorrow. So just forming good relationships with kids instead of waiting for them to get a discipline to show up in my office. Chairing 504 meetings as needed. Monitor meetings monthly, so our lunch monitors, just making sure that do they have any safety concerns, report to me so I can report to where it's necessary, get them fixed. For example, there's a hole in the fence. If we didn't have these meetings or if I wasn't there, I might not have known it, or it might just had to wait a week or a month or something like that. Teaching assistant assignments and scheduling, so for arrival and dismissal, making sure our teaching assistants know where they're supposed to be. I'm responsible for teacher and TA evaluations. I obviously take care of a lot of disciplines. I've introduced mediation between students. So instead of just a discipline, now we have something positive. Re-entry meetings, so it's not just a discipline and then get over it. Now we can talk about it and repair relationships. I also participate in some district level committees, PTA, PLT, helping with emergency drills, interviews for new staff, supporting during round rounds, and just supporting in general. So those are some things I do here. And then finally, just to wrap it up, some PTA highlights.
So the PTA shared a few of these highlights with me, and I wanted to share them with you. There was a mini grant program, so that was implemented. It helped teachers purchase materials they needed to reinforce their curriculum, so teachers actually reported really great feedback for that. There was a successful fall scholastic book fair. A lot of teachers also got a lot of books, which is awesome. They restocked our, if you go up in the main, you'll see the big like vending machine with books. So when we catch students doing great stuff, we give them book points, they're really excited. So now that's well stocked. We had our annual fall activities, and then upcoming we have our literacy fair in January, and we have the Cable Classic in the spring. I lied, that wasn't the last slide. These are just some other positive and proactive measures. I'm not going to read through them all, but you do have them. My addition here is, it's been really nice to be able to catch students and staff and parents even being good and calling them out before something bad happens. So I'll call a parent and they'll be like, oh no, what happened now? And instead of saying, oh, so-and-so did X, Y, and Z, I get to say, I had a really great positive experience with your student. And they're kind of shocked. They're like, well, why are you calling me then if everything's okay? So a lot of those good moments, mediations, support for our support staff here. I think sometimes we forget that those people need support as well, and everything else. So, any questions? Ms. Mallow, if you want to come up for questions.
The only thing I wanted to add was, I just wanted to say thank you. Well, thank you for letting me serve as the Cable principal. I thank students, faculty, staff, parents. Thank you, board, for everything that you supported me along the way. Dr. Ursing. Kayla, honestly, I'm grateful for her more than anything. She's a huge addition to our team, and I really just can't thank you enough for supporting me and allowing me to be here for the last couple of years. I really am grateful. Thank you, and thank you, everybody. If you have any questions.
Thank you. We'll move to public recognition, and then the public wishing to speak to the public podium, state your name and residence. Feel free to speak. Okay, Dr. Walker.
Hi, I'm Jamie Monroe, and I am an instructional coach in the district, and I get to work with K-3 teachers, and Principal Molyneux spoke a little bit about coaches. And I also like to say that part of my work is that I get to listen to students thinking while I'm in the classroom, so that's really awesome. You got to see the data shared through a principal's lens, but tonight I'm going to get to share with you what it looks like when we show some of our second grade Sawyers looking at their data. And this is what we call a data chat. It is between two second grades, and it starts with a routine that's called a Notice and Wonder. And it's a really empowering routine for students because you can't have a wrong noticing or a wrong wondering, and everybody can participate. So it really follows the 3 E's she spoke about too: engagement, equity, and empowerment. So let's watch the video.
What is something you notice? Gianna, what's something you notice? There are bars. Right? Thank you. What else do you notice? Jacob.
There are colors.
There are colors on the bars. What is your name?
Nathan.
Nathan, what's something you notice?
Well, what I would say that I think about is, I think that the green is good, the yellow is in the middle, and the red is bad.
Okay, so that's a wondering. Right? Do you notice something? What do you see up here?
I see the names of the stuff.
This is what we call domains. You say that that word?
Domains.
So your diagnostic is broken up into 4 different domains, and we'll go over those in a few minutes, what those are. For me, please. More than one color. Other notice things, yes.
I noticed.
You notice there are 4 bars. So you notice that there are stripes here. The top doesn't have stripes. I noticed that too. Anybody else notice that now? One more noticing. Look at that noticing. 3 of them have red and 1 doesn't. I noticed that now too. Brayden, what was your wondering?
Why is this like kind of clean and then why in the other parts it's not?
So we wonder what the stripes mean. Okay. Christian,
Why do they need it?
why do we need this?
That was the fun.
Okay. Wow, these are new questions I've never had before. Okay, let me answer some of these questions. Which red? Why? So she says she thinks we should work towards measurement and data because it's the longest red. I see that. Is that what you think?
No, I think
What do you think?
I think we should work from the last one because we pretty much know nothing about it.
Why do you say you know nothing about it?
Because it's no why. This point.
There's no hashtags.
Huh?
It's plain. There's no hashtags. And what else do you notice about the green?
It's the smallest green.
It is the smallest green.
So we should work up to the yellow because the longest yellow one. Never mind.
It is the longest yellow as well.
Yeah. The second one's the longest one.
Any Bryce, thank you. Anything else we should work towards, you think? We have two different goals that both make sense according to our data. Dylan?
We should work on everything.
So the first part, we have a notice, and then we have a wonder, and then again, they wrap up with making an academic goal. What should we work towards? So that whenever we're doing our instruction, we can have a target, and we can say, oh, we're working towards, when we work with, say, adding 2 numbers, this is in our numbers and operations domain, or if they're working on finding the missing number, it's our algebraic domain. So I thank you for letting me come and speak tonight and share with you. And isn't it just amazing when, what we can hear, what our second grade Sawyers have to say about their data? Thanks.
Thank you.
Capital project update?
Good evening, Jeff Andrews of PBL and Chip Leffer at Tetra Tech. So just going to be touching base on the capital project. So again, we're going to cover tonight the main capital improvement project. Want to cover the main capital improvement project, the capital outlay project, and we'll have some time for any questions that we have. Up above is basically the schedule of what we anticipated occurring throughout the project. We have removed the Hildebrand building because that work is substantially complete. And we will talk a little bit through some definitions, substantial completion. Basically, the work that's done is meeting the intended purpose that it can be used for what it was intended for. It doesn't mean that it's finally complete. It doesn't mean that it's completely accepted. Sometimes you may have a project where you're painting your house and there's some paint that is transferred from the ceiling to the wall, needs to be picked up, some punch list items like that occur within some of the work that's being done. We are taking the summers to achieve the hazardous abatement. We completed a lot of that work this last summer. We have some more to go yet as we move forward. The plan for the junior and senior high was to work basically continuous through. There were some things in the shoulder seasons that we're looking to achieve. The original schedule had us doing some of the vestibules this summer based on equipment availability. That work is kind of pushed into the 2024 season. We were able to work with the contractors and bring some of the 2024 work into 2023. We were able to complete the auditorium this year. That is substantially complete. We've got some punch list work that's happening with that. We were able to also take the exterior insulation and finishing system around the perimeter of the building that was supposed to be broken into 2 years and get that substantially complete in 2023, getting some of that work off the dock for what's coming forward. Cahill Elementary School, the plan here was to work over the 2 summers. In 2023, we were able to complete the flooring on the 3rd and 2nd floor. Coming up in 2024, we've got the flooring on the 1st and lower level, as well as some work at, the secure vestibules. Those vestibules, sorry, I should have done the junior senior high as well. That work is being done in all of the schools. We have 5 vestibules to tackle. We also have an elevator lift at Cahill that we're working on, and then anybody that went through the walkthrough earlier, we do have some work on the roof that needs to be taken care of. Morse Elementary School, that again, work was continuing through with the shoulder seasons. We're working on the stage currently. We've got progress on that, and those that are, with what we're doing, we have the fire curtain that was a very long lead item that we're trying to track down. The delivery of that should be happening somewhere between April and June of 24 for installation. Mount Marion, again, working in the summers. We've got site work to do in 24 around the play area that's going on there, as well as the main distribution panel of electrical that's being pulled out and replaced. Riccardi Elementary School, beyond the vestibule, we do have some gymnasium work with the partitions that are breaking that up. So currently, we do have plans for continuing this work in the summer of 24 with project closeout in the fall. So with that, the work as we're tracking is still on target. Based on some of the presentations earlier, we have been working with some of the prime contractors on their character and getting them to have buy-in on work that we're doing to make sure that as we proceed forward, we continue on in some progress. Some of those discussions that we've had relate to some of the exploratory that we're doing now at the vestibules, making sure that any of the questions that we have are raised now so that when we do that work, we can continue to move forward. We've also talked to some of those primes that have larger amount of subcontractors and verified from their ownership that they will be buying into the schedules prior to that work proceeding. Up there we have some photos of progress of the auditorium earlier on. And then here's some of the photos of the work as it stands right now. So you can see a complete difference in the painting that's in there, the fixed audience seating, the control booth that's at the back. We will be working on completing the railing and install the stone cap yet this month. We've got materials coming for the cap this Wednesday. We are not installing immediately. We want to make sure we have a proper plan in place to keep the thing, making sure that as we put the mortar bed in, that it's curing properly and we can get that work completed. We did get reports today that the metal fabricator has had some issues with their equipment and they're working to potentially outsource, so that railing work may not be done until the week of Christmas. Again, we've got a photo of Morse here with the overlay of the addition. That work is progressing right now. We do have some photos of some of the spray fireproofing that's up above, framing that's separating the stage from the remainder of the gymnasium, and painting was proceeding forward today as we paint most of the theater space black, and we're matching the colors within the gymnasium with the ceiling steel that's there. Jim can step forward here a little bit on the capital outlay.
Thanks, Jeff. So, as Jeff noted, there's been some give and take between the construction seasons. There's obviously still quite a bit of work to go, and that's moving forward as Jeff described. For the capital outlay project, you probably remember this slide from one of our previous updates. So we're proceeding, moving forward with some additional flooring work at Riccardi to continue on some of the program that it's been started in some of the previous projects. So right now that's in the design process. That'll get submitted to SED early next year, and then in the following fiscal year, so I'm really just gonna do that shift in my head here, that's when we would actually go out to encumber those costs, meaning bidding, construction, that type of thing. And then the following year after that, which I believe is 25, 26, if I remember correctly, that's when the district would receive their aid back on that at the district's aid ratio. We're kind of restarting this process because there was a little gap there from the last project. So as we move forward with this new 4-year process, I think it'll work better for the district because it gives you a little bit more time from a construction standpoint. You can hit better construction seasons. You just have a longer duration to do that. And this is the previous process was a 3 years, so it made things tighter. So it's sort of getting that going again before you'll reap the benefits, but I think it'll benefit the district long term for that process. And with that, I don't know if there's any questions from the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to share a couple other things that come up. So Saugerties is particularly important to space and program issue, not issues, but program growth that are concerned with both special education and career technical education programs there. They are exploring an opportunity to address both. To that end, Dr. Schenker, the Saugerties team, will attend a board meeting at each of the 8 county school districts for the month of January and February. We're slated to be visited in February to share details about the east opportunity of the former IBM complex in Kingston, currently called I-4 87. So more information to come on that, which is very exciting possibilities for our students. Sure. Next, I did want to share strategic planning. I've talked about this a couple times. I've locked down dates for steps 1 and 2 of that process in February, so I'll be sending out an email to the board with that information. Also, in January, we'll start the thought exchange survey, and then there will be a stakeholder night on February 28th from 4 to 8 p.m., which will, let me back up for a second. So the board will meet first. We'll come up with our mission, vision, values, our understanding of them, and then we will have a stakeholder meeting where we'll come up with objectives, and then the third part of it will be my leadership team kind of make it operational, so who's going to be responsible for what is it going to look like in practice. So I'll be showing out more information as that comes. And then just a reminder that the board will be embarking on a goal-setting workshop this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. in our media center at high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lucy. Board member remarks? Yeah.
I'll be brief. It's getting late. I was going to do this at Francis Morris, but then I figured it'd be more appropriate to do it tonight since we're at KO. So one, I'd like to thank Shannon for the job you've done here. When I look at where, when you see you in a facilities meeting or a policy meeting or even tonight on the tour, there's nothing in this building that you don't have your finger on the pulse. And what that does is it just creates a comfort level for the board that we have a principal here that has done an amazing job. And that kind of leads to the next thing of the role you're going to take, right? And there's been some discussion out there of, well, why would we take a principal who is doing such a great job and create a hole? And that goes to trying to keep our best people, because one of the key things of personnel management is giving them opportunities to grow. So it was unfortunate that the announcement of Shannon going and becoming our director of HR happened at the same time that Mr. Reed tendered his resignation/retirement. That happens. In an organization of almost 500 people, you're going to have attrition. But if we don't provide people with an opportunity to grow and to go stretch their skills, people will leave in droves. The comfort level that I have as a board member that I've seen in my short amount of time here, it's been less than a year, is the ability of Dr. Ursig and Dr. Horvath to build an amazing team. We will miss Mr. Reed. They will, both of them, I have absolute comfort level, will go and fill, you're going to hear later tonight, the fulfillment at the high school level, which I'm excited about what we're doing there. And then accompanying that with, we will find a replacement here at Cahill. And at the end of the day, the team that they're building will be stronger than it was yesterday. So you've done exactly what we want every employee in this district to do. And that is to do such an amazing job at their current role that it's hard to go move them. But you have the skills where it just makes it necessary to go move. Okay? So thank you.
Anyone else?
Mike?
Go ahead.
So I just wanted, John? Can you hear me? No?
There we go.
Is that? Is that one? All right.
Is that better? Okay. I just wanted to thank all the students here at last. It was great hearing them all speak, and just hearing everything that's going on at Cahill, given that I actually have 2 students here. It's really important to hear what's going on, all the things that are happening, and specifically for the 6th grade, all the push-in of the 6th to the 7th grade counselors and stuff like that have really, I know from my students' perspective, have been a very positive experience. And I think the 6th graders are getting excited about moving instead of having anxiety about moving, and I think that has been positive. I think that's happening at all the schools, but I do want to say thank you for all of that. And I do actually want to thank the students, student treasurer, and some of the students have changed organizations. I have students that have mentioned about fundraising at the elementary level, so I know that as an individual board member has been important to me, so I'm glad the students recognize that as well. Thank you.
Ms. Ball?
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Yeah, just a few thank yous and congratulations. Really very impressive. Dr. Ursig mentioned this was students, the all-state students, and of course our Mid-Hudson athletic scholar athletes. Always something to be exceptionally proud of. And here at Cahill, we had an opportunity to visit and hear from our Cahill student government. Something like the second caroling event really speaks to me. I mean, I think it probably speaks to everybody this time of year when you think about caroling, what a classic kind of image that presents. But if you've ever done caroling in that kind of old-fashioned, old-timey way where you're traveling around, it's a lot of fun. I know the kids are going to have a blast doing that. Students for Change and the drama club, and again, so many exciting things going on here today. Thank you to those teacher advisors that presented as well. I'm sorry that the pen was not working as quickly. I remember some names, but I'm not going to butcher them. So forgive me. So congratulations and thank you. Thank you to Ms. Malno for her service here at Cahill and her service to come. Thank you, Ms. Lamb, for your presentation. Very well done, Ms. Monroe. Thank you as well. I really appreciate the engagement, equity, and empowerment notion. I used to talk with teachers many years ago. William Glass was a well-known psychiatrist, and he had what's called choice theory. And essentially, it basically said that all humans behave based on trying to satisfy, certain 5 basic needs. And those are belonging, power, freedom, fun, and love. And when you look at things like engagement, equity, empowerment, you see a lot of the same kind of sensibilities there about what we're trying to do and how we're trying to engage kids in such a way, because these are things that they're interested in as little humans anyway, right? They're looking for opportunities to be engaged and to have opportunities for, sharing their own power, right? And or even identifying it. So that's an exciting thing. So congratulations, appreciate all that news. I want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah that is celebrating right now. Everybody here present, everybody in the district certainly. Merry Christmas is coming up, and Kwanzaa is later on this month as well. So happy holidays to all of those falls. And once again, just remember, and I think we're all cognizant of this, but December is not an easy month for everybody, right? And certainly as we lead up to these large breaks, 10 days for a kid, it's a really large break. And for all the kids that really appreciate that time, there's a percentage of them that are really going to miss their school. So I appreciate all the staff that think about those kids as we run up to something like the holiday break and any efforts that we're making on behalf of those kids. It's always appreciated. So, thank you.
Well, anybody else? Board President's remarks. I like Cahill. When I first moved to Saugerties, it was my home school before they redistricted, and I've always felt very comfortable there. This building has a lot of history. This was originally the main high school for the district, and I've talked to some of our senior citizens, and they have some fond memories of this. And I think we're seeing passing the torch. I don't think I could say anything better about Ms. Mellon than Mr. Riazzi did. But Shannon and Kaylee have done well this year. It's going to lead to a new direction for Cahill. It's only going to be positive. Things have gotten better and better. I've really been blown away seeing the work of the instructional coaches, the work of Dr. Borback. The students for change, and that just warms my heart to see young people thinking about being altruistic, not thinking about themselves, but thinking about what they can do for the community. So Cahill is the educational engine of the village here, and I'm glad to see it prosper. I'm glad to be here tonight. We're going to skip the break. We're going to move on for personnel. I'll entertain a motion for items J, items 1 and 2. Moved by Ms. Keller, and second by Mr. Olson. Any discussion? So we heard of all those in favor, say aye. Business office recommendation. I want to take a motion for item J3. Is there a second? Any discussion? None being heard, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. I'll entertain a motion for business officer recommendations items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Filler. Second. Second by Ms. Yasi.
If I could just interject that the natural gas price is 5.998. That was going to be a year one or 12-month contract. Taking to a new business official for researching that and looking into that. We will try to see if we can get in a better cycle moving forward as well.
Okay, any other discussion? None being heard, I'll call for all those in favor say aye. Aye. And board action discussion items, all in favor, motion for N 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moved by Ms. Kelly, is there a second? Second by Ms. Delarosa. Discussion? None being heard, I'll call for all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Board discussion items, school board member code of ethics. And I think the discussion was looking to adopt the RISDA standards, and we have a legal team to tell that. Mr. Wall?
Yeah, I was just going to share, and I know I brought this up a few times with the road folks that are part of our audience here. We belong to the New York State School Boards Association. And one of the things that we've been doing is, starting work with them as a board, working with staff to share priorities, working with goal development, team building types of things. And one of the things that the New York State School Boards Association offers is a code of ethics that they have developed. So again, recognizing that this is a New York State organization, and recognizing that much like many of our other policies, for instance, code of conduct, there are policies that come up every year for us to take a look at. And I think it's valuable for us as a school board to take a look at our code of ethics policy specifically, because we are setting the standard. And as much as we encourage this kind of reflection, and for all the activities that we do on behalf of our faculty and our staff, our administrative team, I think we should have that same level of reflection. So the model that they suggest is a model that I think everybody's had an opportunity to look at, and I really think that it's a simply good practice. So that's why I at least consider it top of the board. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this? None being heard, we'll move on to committee reports. Water committee. Okay. Facilities.
I want to thank Jim and Jeff for saying everything. The last meeting was Wednesday, December 6th. The next one will be Wednesday, January 3rd at 5 p.m.
And policy.
See if you want to do that. Last meeting, we spoke a little bit about ethics that Mr. Ball just reviewed, and the one thing I've got to say, being on the board for 9 years now, when I first started policy meetings or the audit meetings, weren't as well attended as they are now. And I got to say, when I look out and I see, administrators, parents that have a vested interest, having a voice, it's something that we've kind of been working towards, and it's really refreshing to see. And I'd like to thank Ms. Lamb especially for all the work you've done with the code of conduct. I think that's something that I know I hear from my own children in the upper grades that, just having the voice and knowing that other students are having input, it's really a long time coming in one sense, but it's a pleasure to watch happen. And also brought up tonight, the purpose, policy and procedure. I think there were 3 that we got to get towards. We had a steady review that I recently attended a webinar for Erie One BOCES. We have a pretty regular schedule that we abide by, but I think to get to the point where we have the purpose, the policy, and the procedures and tie it all together, and I look forward to that. But it's been a pleasure to watch everybody come to a policy meeting, the first Tuesday of the month before the meeting. Thank you.
And last month we had created a board operations committee. We're going to plan on meeting, for the January board meeting, we're going to look at Thursday night's meeting to help guide some of the agenda for that, to cherry pick that, so we got everyone on here. Next, public recognition, anybody from the public wishing to speak? Don't all rush at once. Okay, so we can move forward, I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
Here we go. Mr. Martelli, as the principal.
Congratulations, Now, I'll take a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Wells. Discussion, Mr. Harold, all those in favor say aye. We'll be coming out to this, meeting, going to be, people have, so thank you for coming out tonight.
Yours?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Keller? Any discussion on being heard off of all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So
Ms.
moved.
Keller?
Second.
Mr. Wells, second. Discussion on being heard, all those in favor say aye. Great.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Have a nice holiday.